The movie starts with a couple of sailors practicing for an upcoming role in the Titanic movie, when suddenly a white flash gives them all the practice they needed. Unfortunately, this wasn't the only shipwreck. A raft with survivors reaches land, claiming they were attacked by a monster. Upon hearing this, an old man proposes that it could only be Godzilla, a sea monster that had to be regularly calmed down 50 years ago, back when sacrifices were still trendy. Of course, no one believes him, so Dr. Yamane proposes a scientific expedition to gather proper information. With him also live her daughter, Emiko, and her boyfriend, whose name I don't remember. Sorry. Under the careful and uneven watch of Dr. Serizawa. The expedition proves quite fruitful when it turns out there exists a monster in Japan milder than declining natality rates. Yamane concludes that this being used to live below the ocean, but was set free by a nuclear explosion. While the good doctor is impressed any living creature could remain so, after absorbing so much radiation, others are more concerned about making the information public or not. At the end, they decide to make it public, and prepare themselves to kill Godzilla. Meanwhile, Emiko goes to visit Serizawa, who I think it's her ex or a former pretender or whatever. The point is, he shows her a current project, which we don't get to see, how convenient. Back in the city, Godzilla comes out to stretch his limbs and express his hate for journalism as a profession. They eventually get him back underwater, but something must be done. After the fact, Emiko tells Bland McGee what Serizawa is working on, the oxygen destroyer, capable of reducing pretty much anything to nothing. At first, Serizawa doesn't want to comply, fearing that this will be turned into another weapon of mass destruction. But a Japanese rendition of We Are the World playing on TV convinces him to do the right thing.
Good thing you turned on that TV, Lisa.
I didn't turn it on. I thought you turned it on.
Giving us the death of Godzilla, a heroic sacrifice, and leading us straight to the most emotional and therefore worst acted scene in the movie, the end. The 1954 Godzilla's biggest virtue and biggest problem is that Godzilla stole the show, by which I mean a scenes not involving the monster or traces of it lack any entertainment value. The characters either get what they're looking for with no resistance or resign themselves and politely give up. The frustrating thing is that they do have goals, but don't do anything to pursue them. Most scenes can be described as a gathering to share opinions that we have to sit through until we see whose side the scriptwriter chose. The most egregious example happens after Godzilla is confirmed to be real. Whether the information is made public or not is a crucial detail in the plot. We're talking about international peace against citizen security. Things are bound to get heated. Except no one fights over that. Just like how Dr. Yamane didn't do anything to prevent Godzilla getting killed, or how the journalist politely left after not getting his questions answered. The most important dispute in this film gets resolved by watching TV. That should tell you everything. The mishandling of the dialogue scenes makes the movie feel slower than a hot pick downloaded in the 90s. Things only really spring to life when Godzilla is involved. Before we even know if what's causing the shipwrecks is an animal or not, it is referred to as a thing of myth, something that only could be pleased with innocent lives. There's an escalating urgency to deal with this monster because, little by little, we're more aware of the titanic proportions it possesses and the level of destruction it could cause. And when we do get a good glimpse at it, there's no stopping it now. I have to give a lot of credit to the film for not conforming to showing mindless destruction. The quality of the special effects would have allowed them to do so, don't get me wrong. In retrospect, the rampage through the city aged extremely well. However, the message that they aim to transmit is never forgotten. Looking at videos of huge wave over on YouTube can be quite fun. What turns it into devastating is when you see news reports of people losing any semblance of ordinary life. The same applies here given that Godzilla is, and therefore acts, as a force of nature. Director Ishiro Honda goes the extra mile by showing us the human toll the attack is having beyond the damage to infrastructure. Strips are empty, defense forces are useless, and a mother tries to accept death with her children. This is a society that has to stick together as best as they can in face of a force they never had any chance of withstanding. Despite having my fair bit of issues with it, I can get why Godzilla will go to become one of the most recognizable, well, things ever. It exploits fears and sensibilities omnipresent in Japanese society, arising by the two nuclear attacks suffered a decade earlier. Anything that can survive huge doses of radiation is instantly established as fearful, when a lot of the audience were personally affected by the bombs, witnessed the state the survivors ended up in, or both. With time, the audience would change. With them, the reason Godzilla piqued interest would change. Hell, even Godzilla himself would change a lot. The King of Monsters had a huge path before him, and while it isn't perfect in any way, this first version at least set firm bases for what was to come.